I do apologize, but I have a procession that's coming up this way. As well, we need to be cognizant of this camera that is shooting everybody. That's good. Friends, right there. Thank you.
Passing it along to everybody after the procession. We're going to go over and take pictures. Stick around.
Four minutes to walk it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the
Gordon M. Amath, Jr.
Edomiro Abad,
Marie Rose Abad.
Andrew Anthony Abate,
Vincent Paul Abate.
Lawrence Christopher Abel,
Alona Abraham.
William F. Abrahamson,
Richard Anthony Aceto.
Heinrich Bernard Ackerman,
Paul Aqua Viva.
Christian Adams,
Donald Leroy Adams.
Patrick Adams,
Shannon Lewis Adams.
Stephen George Adams,
Ignatius Udu Adanga.
Christy A. Adamo,
Terrence Edward Adderley, Jr.
Sophia B. Otto,
Lee Adler.
Daniel Thomas Afalito,
Emmanuel Akwazi Afakwa.
Alok Agarwal,
Mukul Kumar Agarwala.
Joseph Agnello,
David Scott Agnes.
Joel Alberto da Fonseca Aguiar, Jr.,
Brian G. Ahern.
Jeremy Joseph Ahern,
Joanne Marie Alia Dodas.
Sabir Ahmed,
Terrence Andre Aiken.
Godwin O. Ajala,
Trudy M. Alagero.
Andrew Alamino,
Margaret Ann Alario.
Gary M. Albero,
John Leslie Albert.
Peter Craig Alderman,
And my sister, Jody Tepedino Nicolo. Tower 1, 105th floor, Cantor Fitzgerald. We miss you, Jody. We love you. Your light still shines as bright as it ever did. Rest in peace.
and my grandfather, Raymond Matthew Downey Sr., who tragically lost his life on that day with the many others. Poppy, your hard work, dedication, and perseverance for the FDNY will never be unnoticed. Your legacy will live on forever. Your beautiful wife, Rosalie, 5 kids, 16 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild all wish you were here today, but we know you are looking down on us. We miss you, we love you, and until we meet again, our hero forever.
Jacqueline Delane Aldridge Frederick.
David D. Alger.
Ernest Alakakos.
Edward L. Allegretto.
Eric Allen.
Joseph Ryan Allen.
Richard Dennis Allen.
Richard L. Allen.
Christopher E. Allingham.
Anna S. W. Allison.
Janet Marie Alonzo.
Anthony Alvarado.
Antonio Javier Alvarez.
Victoria Alvarez Brito.
Telmo E. Alvier.
Cesar Amaranto Alviar.
Tariq Amanullah.
Angelo Amaranto.
James M. Amato.
Joseph Amatuccio.
Paul W. Ambrose.
Christopher Charles Amoroso.
Craig Scott Amunson.
Kazuhiro Anai.
Kalisto Anaya Jr.
Joseph P. Anchandia.
Kermit Charles Anderson.
Yvette Constance Anderson.
John Jack Andracchio.
Michael Rourke Andrews.
Jean Ann Andrucki.
Su Nia Ang.
Joseph Angelini Sr.
Joseph John Angelini Jr.
David Lawrence Angel.
Mary Lynn Edwards Angel.
Laura Angeletta.
Doreen J. Angrisani.
Lorraine Antigua.
Sema David Aoyama.
And my father, firefighter Jonathan Lee Ielpi. Our family misses you every day, and we miss you very much. May you rest in peace.
And for my uncle, firefighter Jimmy Richards, tomorrow would have been your 52nd birthday. And even though I never got to meet you, I will never forget you. My sisters, cousins, and I are so proud of you. We love you forever. Happy birthday, Uncle Jimmy. God bless America.
Peter Paul Apollo.
Faustino Apostle Jr.
Frank Thomas Aquilino.
Patrick Michael Araños.
David Gregory Arche.
Michael George Archinsky.
Louis Arena.
Barbara Jean Aristegui.
Adam P. Arias.
Michael J. Armstrong.
Jack Charles Aaron.
Joshua Todd Aaron.
Richard Avery Aronow.
Myra Joy Aronson.
Japhet Jesse Arye.
Carl Francis Asaro.
Michael A. Asiak.
Michael Edward Asher.
Janice Marie Ashley.
Thomas J. Ashton.
Manuel O. Asidimbe.
Greg A. Atlas.
Gerald Thomas Atwood.
James Audifred.
Louis F. Aversano, Jr.
Ezra Aviles.
Sandy Ayala.
Arlene T. Babakitas.
Eustace R. Bacchus.
John J. Badakliaka.
Jane Ellen Basler.
Robert J. Bearwalter.
Andrew J. Bailey.
Brett T. Bailey.
Garnet Ace Bailey.
Tatiana Bakalinskaya.
Michael S. Baksh.
Sharon M. Balcom.
Michael Andrew Bain.
Catherine Bantis.
And my father, John Leslie Albert. He was a great man, filled the room with his presence, missed by those who knew him. One other thing I want to say, the median age of all the names I read was 37. These were people in the prime of their lives. They had a lot to live for. They simply went to work one day and never returned. May we always remember them.
And my father, Andrew Stern, you are remembered, missed, and loved so very much every day.
Firefighter Gerard Baptiste.
Walter Barron.
Firefighter Gerard A. Barbera.
Paul Vincent Barbaro.
American Airlines Flight to Christine Jonah Barbudo.
Victor Daniel Barbosa.
David Michael Barkway.
Colleen Ann Barco.
At the Pentagon, United States Navy P.O. Melissa Rose Barnes.
Matthew Barnes.
Evan J. Barron.
Sheila Patricia Barnes.
Firefighter Arthur Thaddeus Berry.
Renee Barrett Arjun.
Police Officer Maurice Vincent Berry.
Diane G. Berry.
Carlton W. Bartels.
Scott D. Bart.
Anna B. Bessina.
Guy Barsby.
Kenneth William Biznicki.
Alicia Christine Burton Basmajian.
Paul James Batalanga.
Stephen Joseph Bates.
Ivan Louis Carpio Batusta.
W. David Bauer.
Mark Lawrence Bavis.
Marlon Capito Batista.
Lorraine G. Bay.
Jasper Baxter,
Todd M. Beamer,
Michelle Beal,
Jane S. Beatty,
Paul Frederick Bettini,
Lawrence Ira Beck,
Alan Anthony Beaven,
and my grandfather, firefighter Alan Tarasarich. As I'm growing up, I'm hearing so many stories. My brothers and I feel like we get to know you, but still, I wish I had a chance to really know you. Everyone in the family misses you. We will never forget, and we love you.
Alan Anthony Beaven, Manette Marie Beckles, Michael Ernest Beekman, and my uncle, Ian Schneider. We love you so much. Yo, dude.
Ready? Maria A. Bear,
Max J. Bilkey,
Elena Belovosky,
Nina Patrice Bell,
Debbie S. Bellows,
Stephen Elliott Belson,
Paul M. Benedetti,
Denise Lenore Benedetto,
Brian Craig Bennett,
Eric L. Bennett,
Oliver Bennett,
Margaret L. Benson,
Dominic Berardi,
James Patrick Berger,
Stephen Howard Berger,
John P. Bergen,
Alvin Bergson,
Daniel David Bergstein,
Graham Andrew Berkeley,
Michael J. Berkeley,
Donna M. Bernards,
David W. Bernard,
William H. Bernstein,
David M. Beret,
David Shelby Berry,
Joseph John Berry,
William Reed Bethke,
Yanene Bitru,
Timothy D. Betterly,
Carol Mayer Bug,
Edward Frank B.A.,
Paul Michael Bear,
Anil Taliram Baravane,
Bella J. Buchan,
Shimmy D. Gelson,
Peter Alexander Byfeld,
William G. Biggert,
Brian Eugene Bilcher,
Mark Bingham,
Carl Vincent Binney,
and my nephew, firefighter Michael Roberts, who was joined by his mom in spirit 2 days ago last year on September 9th. And Michael, I stood there that night and I saw the wreckage and knew I'd never see you alive again. And something came to me, this voice, I could hear him saying, "Uncle Joe, that's awesome, Uncle Joe, that's awesome." And I thought how much he loved me. And I asked why. And the answer came that I have to live the life and be the man that he loves so much. And that's what our loved ones leave us with. God bless.
and my uncle, Edward James White III. Uncle Teddy, which each year that goes by, we love and miss you more and more. We are so proud of you, and you are truly an American hero.
Gary Eugene Bird.
Joshua David Birnbaum.
George John Bishop.
Chris Romeo Bishundat.
Jeffrey Donald Bittner.
Albert Balewa Blackman Jr.
Christopher Joseph Blackwell.
Carrie Rosetta Blackburn.
Susan Leigh Blair.
Harry Blanding Jr.
Janice Lee Lanny.
Craig Michael Blass.
Rita Blau.
Richard Middleton Blood Jr.
Michael Andrew Bacardi.
John Paul Bocci.
Michael L. Bocchino.
Susan M. Bocchino.
Dira Francis Bodley.
Bruce Douglas Boehm.
Mary Catherine Murphy Boa.
Nicholas Andrew Bogdan.
Darren Christopher Bohan.
Lawrence Francis Balso.
Vincent M. Boland Jr.
Tori Hamzavi Bolorchi.
Alan Bondarenko.
Andre Bonheuer Jr.
Colin Arthur Bonnet.
Frank J. Bonomo.
Yvonne Lucia Bonomo.
Sean Booker Sr.
Kelly Ann Booms.
Canfield D. Boone.
Mary Jane Booth.
Sherry Ann Bordeaux.
Christine Bordename.
Jerry J. Borg.
Martin Michael Borzewski.
Richard Edward Bosco.
And my uncle, firefighter Christopher Michael Mazzillo. Uncle Chris, the whole family knows you always protect and watch over us each day. Even though I never got to meet you on earth, I know I met you in heaven before I was born. I think often about how if you were still here, you would be one of my best friends. Looking at colleges with me, getting me out of trouble with mom and dad, hanging out at the Jersey Shore, and let's be real, losing to me on the links. I thank you for leading me to each person I meet and create a relationship with, giving me blessings each day, teaching me how to live my life to the fullest. We all miss you and love you so much.
And my aunt, Gabriella Silvina Weissman, who is lovingly remembered through me and my family. We miss you and love you, Auntie Gabby. We will never forget you. I'd also like to thank the first responders who sacrificed themselves in order to save their fellow Americans on that fateful day, as well as the thousands of service members who have given their lives in the name of freedom for the past 22 years.
Klaus Bota.
Carol Marie Bouchard.
J. Howard Bolton.
Francisco Eligio Bordier.
Thomas Harold Bowden Jr.
Donna M. Bowen.
Kimberly S. Bowers.
Veronique Nicole Bowers.
Larry Bowman.
Sean Edward Bowman Jr.
Kevin L. Bowser.
Gary R. Box.
Gennady Boyarsky.
Pamela Boyce.
Alan P. Boyle.
Michael Boyle.
Alfred J. Braca.
Sandra Canati Brace.
Kevin Hugh Bracken.
Sandy Wa Bradshaw.
David Brian Brady.
Alexander Brzezinski.
Nicholas W. Brenda Marty.
Daniel Raymond Brandhurst.
David Reed Gamboya Brandhorst.
Michelle Renee Bratton.
Patrice Brout.
Lydia Estelle Bravo.
Ronald Michael Breitweiser.
Edward A. Brennan III.
Frank H. Brennan.
Michael E. Brennan.
Peter Brennan.
Thomas Moore Brennan.
Daniel J. Brethel.
Gary Lee Bright.
Jonathan Eric Briley.
Mark A. Brisman.
Paul Gary Bristow.
Marion R. Britton.
And my uncle and godfather, Brian C. Hickey, Battalion Chief of Rescue 4. Uncle Brian, the unbelievable pain of losing you has forever left a hole in our hearts that can never be filled. But we are forever grateful for all the amazing memories we have. I feel incredibly honored to have such a selfless uncle who sacrificed his own life to save others and be able to tell my children that their Uncle Brian was a real-life hero. I love you and miss you terribly.
And my brother, Simon Marash Tedvukai.
Mark Francis Broderick.
Herman Charles Brockhammer.
Keith A. Broomfield.
Bernard C. Brown II.
Janice J. Louise Brown.
Lloyd Stanford Brown.
Patrick John Brown.
Bettina B. Brown Radburn.
Mark Bruce.
Richard George Brewhert.
Andrew Brunn.
FDNY Captain Vincent Edward Brunton.
Ronald Booka.
Brandon J. Buchanan.
Greg J. Buck.
Dennis Buckley.
Nancy Claire Boucher.
Patrick Joseph Boos.
John Edward Bulaga Jr.
Stephen Bruce Bunin.
Christopher L. Burford.
Matthew J. Burke.
Thomas Daniel Burke.
FDNY Captain William Francis Burke, Jr.
Charles F. Burlingame III.
Thomas E. Burnett, Jr.
Donald J. Burns.
Kathleen Ann Burns.
Keith James Burns.
Firefighter John Patrick Burnside.
Irina Buslow.
Milton G. Bustillo.
Thomas M. Butler.
Firefighter Patrick Dennis Byrne.
Timothy J. Byrne.
Daniel M. Caballero.
Jesus Neptali Cabezas.
Lillian Caceres.
Brian Joseph Caccia.
Stephen Dennis Caffiero, Jr.
And my brother, Robert T. Bobby Hughes, Jr. Your beautiful smile and presence is missed and loved so much. You are forever our hero and angel.
And my uncle, Battalion Chief Oreo Joseph Palmer. We love you, we miss you, and we'll never forget you.
Richard Michael Gagliano.
Cecile Maria Cagigla.
John Brett Cahill.
Michael John Cahill.
Scott Walter Cahill.
Thomas Joseph Cahill.
George C. Kane.
Salvatore B. Calabro.
Joseph M. Calandrillo.
Philip V. Calcagno.
Edward Calderon.
Jose O. Calderon Olmedo.
Kenneth Marcus Caldwell.
Dominic E. Calia.
Felix Bobby Calixte.
Francis Joseph Callahan.
Liam Callahan.
Suzanne M. Cali.
Gino Luigi Calvi.
Rocco Camash.
Michael F. Camarada.
David O.D. Campbell.
Jeffrey Thomas Campbell.
Robert Arthur Campbell.
Sandra Patricia Campbell.
Sean Thomas Canavan.
John A. Candela.
Vincent A. Cangelosi.
Stephen J. Cangelosi.
Lisa Bella Canava.
Brian Canizaro.
Michael R. Canty.
Louis Anthony Capricci.
Jonathan Neff Capello.
John Christopher Cappers.
Richard Michael Caproni.
Jose Manuel Cardona.
Dennis M. Carey Sr.
Edward Carlino.
Michael Scott Carlo.
And Donna Angelini's, her family sends their love. Her husband was Joseph Angelini, firefighter, and sends her love. Children send their love to their father. And my brother, firefighter Michael Francis Lynch. Your boys are doing beautifully. One was 6 months old, one was 2 years old. They have the values that you instilled in our family. Respect life, honor, and trust.
And my wife, Deborah Kaplan. Debbie, we love you and miss you.
David G. Carlone,
Rosemary C. Carlson,
Mark Stephen Carney,
Joyce Ann Carpenero,
Peter J. Carroll,
Michael T. Carroll,
James Joseph Carson,
that's me, sorry, Angeline C. Carter,
James Marcel Cartier,
Sharon Ann Carver,
Vivian Casaldic,
John Francis Cazaza,
Paul Regan Cassio,
Neely Ann Heffernan Casey,
William Joseph Cashman,
Thomas Anthony Casoria,
William Otto Casper,
Alejandro Castaño,
Arcilia Castillo,
Leonard M. Castriano,
Jose Ramon Castro,
William E. Caswell,
Robert John Carfield,
Christopher Sean Caton,
Judson Cavalier,
Mary Teresa Caulfield,
Jason David Kane,
Michael Joseph Qualley,
Marcia G. Cecil Carter,
Jason Michael Cefalu,
Thomas Joseph Seelick,
Ana Mercedes Centeno,
Joni Sesta,
John J. Chara,
Jeffrey Mark Chernoff,
Swarna Chalasani,
and my uncle Christopher Etz. Our time together was special. So were the memories we made. Although you live in heaven now, those memories will never fade. I bow my head in silence and remember my uncle with love. And I know that you are in heaven, watching from above. We miss you. Your family misses you very deeply. Rest in peace, Uncle, and God bless America.
and my uncle, Jaime Concepcion. We love you. We miss you very much. You were the one person in the family who can't count on to help anybody. I hope you and Grandma are together in heaven. She didn't get to say goodbye to you, and you didn't say goodbye to her, but she followed you 4 days later to be with you. I hope you both are together watching over us. Amen.
William A. Chalkoff,
Eli Chalou,
Charles Lawrence Chan,
Mandy Chang,
Rosa Maria Chapa,
Mark Lawrence Charette,
David M. Chalabois,
Gregorio Manuel Chavez,
Pedro Francesco Checo,
Douglas McMillan Cherry,
Stephen Patrick Cherry,
Vernon Paul Cherry,
Nestor Julio Chevalier Jr.,
Swede Joseph Chevalier,
Alexander H. Chiang,
Dorothy J. Chicharo,
Luis Alfonso Chimbo,
Robert Chin,
Eddie Wing Wei Ching,
Nicholas Paul Chafalo,
John G. Chipura,
Peter A. Chicharillo,
Catherine Ellen Charles,
Kwang Hee Casey Cho,
Abdul K. Chowdhury,
Mohammed Salahuddin Chowdhury,
Kristen Lael Christoph,
Pamela Chu,
Stephen Paul Chucknick,
Wei Ching Chung,
Christopher Chiafardini,
Alex F. Saccone,
Francis Ann Salente,
Elaine Silo,
Edna Cintron,
Nestor Andre Cintron III,
Robert D. Siri Sr.,
Juan Pablo Cisneros,
Benjamin Keefe Clark,
Eugene Clark,
and my brother Joseph Michael Giacconi, 22 years are like 22 seconds. I forced myself to remember that it wasn't yesterday or a month or a year. It was 22 years ago. My brother was murdered here. And this ceremony is essential. Me and other family members come here to listen to our loved ones' names be spoken out loud. Because if we hear their names, they are never forgotten and they never disappear. Joe, we love you and miss you every day.
And my poppy, Gerard Patrick Frank, firefighter from Rescue Company 3. I miss you and love you. I wish you got to take me fishing. We love you, Poppy.
Gregory Allen Clark.
Manny Leroy Clark.
Sarah M. Clark.
Thomas R. Clark.
Christopher Robert Clark.
Donna Marie Clark.
Michael J. Clark.
Saria Rachel Emma Clark.
Kevin Francis Cleary.
James D. Clear.
Jeffrey W. Cloud.
Susan Marie Klein.
Stephen Coakley.
Jeffrey Allen Cole.
Patricia A. Cody.
Daniel Michael Coffey.
Jason Matthew Coffey.
Florence G. Cohen.
Kevin S. Cohen.
Anthony Joseph Caladonato.
Mark Joseph Caleo.
Stephen J. Caleo.
Christopher Michael Colasanti.
Kevin Nathaniel Colbert.
Michelle P. Colbert.
Keith E. Coleman.
Scott Thomas Coleman.
Terrell Coleman.
Liam Joseph Calhoun.
Robert D. Colin.
Robert J. Call.
Jean Marie Collin.
John Michael Collins.
Michael L. Collins.
Thomas Joseph Collins.
Joseph Kent Collison.
Jeffrey Dwayne Coleman.
Patricia Malia Colander.
Linda M. Colon.
Sal E. Cologne.
And my cousin, who lit up a room, the eternal prankster, who will eternally be missed, John Michael Sparborough. We love you, Johnny. We miss you. Rest in peace.
And my grandfather, FDNY Captain James J. Corrigan. We love you and we miss you.
Ronald Edward Comer.
Jaime Concepcion.
Albert Conde.
Denise Conley.
Susan P. Conlon.
Margaret Mary Connor.
Cynthia Marie Lease Connolly.
John E. Connolly, Jr.
James Lee Connor.
Jonathan M. Connors.
Kevin Patrick Connors.
Kevin F. Conroy.
Brenda E. Conway.
Dennis Michael Cook.
Helen D. Cook.
Jeffrey W. Coombs.
John A. Cooper.
Julian T. Cooper.
Joseph John Copo Jr.
Gerard J. Coppola.
Joseph Albert Corbett.
John J. Corcoran III.
Alejandro Cordero.
Robert Joseph Cordes.
Ruben D. Correa.
Danny A. Correa Gutierrez.
Georgine Rose Corrigan.
James J. Corrigan.
Carlos Cortez Rodriguez.
Kevin Michael Cosgrove.
Dolores Marie Costa.
Digna Alexandra Costanza.
Charles Gregory Costello Jr.
Michael S. Costello.
Asia S. Cottom.
Conrad Kofi Cotty Sr.
Martin John Coughlin.
John G. Coughlin.
Timothy J. Coughlin.
James E. Cove.
And my brother, William Thomas Dean, to all the first responders, military, and workers that were lost that day and in the subsequent days from their response. Please remember them, and to all of you for being here and keeping the memory alive. Thank you.
And my uncle, Andrew LaCourte.
Though I've only met him through stories from loved ones, he will always be in my heart.
Andre Colin Cox.
Frederick John Cox.
James Raymond Coyle.
Michelle Coyle Yulo.
Christopher Seaton Kramer.
Eric A. Cranford.
Denise Elizabeth Krant.
James Leslie Crawford, Jr.
Robert James Crawford.
Tara Kathleen Kramer.
Joanne Mary Cregan.
Lucia Kerfasi.
John A. Creasy.
Daniel Hal Chrisman.
Dennis A. Cross.
Kevin R. Crotty.
Thomas G. Crotty.
John R. Crow.
Wills Remy Crowther.
Robert L. Cruikshank.
John Robert Cruz.
Grace Alegre Kua.
Kenneth John Cubas.
Francisco Cruz Cubero.
Thelma Cuccinello.
Richard Joseph Cudina.
Neil James Cudmore.
Thomas Patrick Cullen III.
Joan Cullinan.
Joyce Rose Cummings.
Brian Thomas Cummins.
Michael Joseph Cunningham.
Robert Curatolo.
Lawrence Damian Curia.
Paul Dario Curioli.
Patrick Joseph Caravan.
Beverly L. Curry.
Andrew Peter Charles Curry Green.
Michael Sean Curtin.
Patricia Cushing.
And my godfather and uncle, Richard Samuel Gabriel. We love you, we miss you. Every day we live our lives to honor you. Thank you to all the first responders who died trying to save our family members' lives, especially Battalion Chief Oreo Palmer, Fire Marshal Ronald Baca, and thank you also. I want to acknowledge so many people are fighting 9/11 related illnesses. Many are not with us anymore. Thank you to those advocates out there, including John Field and John Stewart. And this museum and memorial is so important. We need it. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to honor our loved ones.
And my uncle, Matthew J. Burke. The life you lived and the memories you left behind will be forever cherished. Family members are like stars. You don't always see them, but you always know they're there. God bless you, Uncle Matt, and God bless America.
Gavin Cushney.
Caleb Aaron Dack.
Carlos S. DaCosta.
Jason M. Dahl.
Brian Paul Dale.
John DeLara.
Vincent Gerard Damadeo.
Thomas A. Damaskinos.
Jack L. D'Ambrosi Jr.
Janine Damiani Jones.
Manuel Joao Damota.
Patrick W. Donahue.
Mary D'Antonio.
Vincent G. Dance.
Dwight Donald Darcy.
Elizabeth Ann Darling.
Annette Andrea Dodderam.
Edward A. Diatri.
Michael D. Dioria.
Lawrence Davidson.
Michael Allen Davidson.
Scott Matthew Davidson.
Titus Davidson.
New Yorker Davila.
Ada M. Davis.
Clinton Davis Sr.
Wayne Terriel Davis.
Anthony Richard Dawson.
Calvin Dawson.
Edward James Day.
William Thomas Dean.
Robert J. DeAngelis Jr.
Thomas Patrick DeAngelis.
Dorothy Alma de Araujo.
Ana Gloria Pocasangre de Barrera.
Tara E. DeBeck.
James E. Debonair.
Anna M. Debin.
James V. de Blasi Jr.
Jaisril Malabuyok de Chavez.
And my cousin, Craig Damian Lalore. Thinking about him in that day, I'm reminded of Romans 12:21. Do not be conquered by evil, but conquer evil with good. The good we do in honoring and remembering our loved ones today and every day is how we conquer the evil. Ceremonies such as this must be a mainstay to ensure their names live on for generations to come. This country and future Americans must never forget what happened here and every innocent soul that was taken from us. May God bless my cousin. May God bless you and your loved ones. And may God bless the greatest country, the United States of America.
And my cousins, Maria Teresa Concepcion Santillan and Judy Hazel Santillan Fernandez, forever in our hearts and in our prayers. We love you dearly. We miss you so much. Continue to rest in peace. Continue to watch over us until we meet again.
Paul DeCola.
Gerald F. DeConto.
Simon Marash Dedvukaj.
Jason Christopher DeFazio.
David A. DeFeo.
Jennifer De Jesus.
Monique Effie De Jesus.
Nareda De Jesus.
Emmy De La Peña.
Donald Arthur De La Peña.
Azucena Maria De La Torre.
Vito Joseph De Leo.
Danielle Ann Deli.
Andrea Della Bella.
Joseph A. Della Pietra.
Palmina Delegati.
Colleen Ann DeLowry.
Joseph De Luca.
Manuel Del Valle Jr.
Francis Albert De Martini.
Anthony Damas.
Firefighter Martin N. DeMayo.
Francis Deming.
Carol Keys Demitz.
Kevin Dennis.
Thomas Francis Dennis Sr.
Jean C. De Palma.
Jose Nicholas De Pena.
Robert John Durrani.
Michael De Rienzo.
David Paul DeRubio.
Jamal Legues DeSantis.
Christian Luis DeSimone.
Edward DeSimone III.
Andrew J. Desperito.
Michael Jude Esposito.
Cindy Ann Duell.
Melanie Louise DeVere.
Jerry DeVito.
Robert P. Devitt Jr.
And my father, Damian Meehan. Dad, I love you, and we all miss you very much.
And my uncle, firefighter Joseph Patrick Henry. Uncle Joey, my siblings, cousins, and I feel like we know you from all the stories our family has told us. We are proud to have a hero like you in our family. We know you are watching over us with Papa.
Dennis Lawrence Devlin.
Gerard P. Dewan.
Suleiman Ali Kasamali Danani.
Michael Luis D'Agostino.
Matthew Diaz.
Nancy Diaz.
Abdulio Ruiz Diaz.
Michael A. Diaz Piedra III.
Judith Burkis Diaz Sierra.
Patricia Florence DiChiro.
Rodney Dickens.
Jerry D. Dickerson.
Joseph Dermot Dickey Jr.
Lawrence Patrick Dickinson.
Michael D. Deal.
John DeFato.
Vincent Francis DeFazio.
Carl Anthony DeFranco.
Donald Joseph DeFranco.
John DiGiovanni.
Eddie A. Dillard.
Deborah Ann DiMartino.
David DeMeglio.
Stephen Patrick Dimino.
William John Dimling.
Marissa DiNardo Short.
Christopher Moore Dincuff.
Jeffrey Mark Dingle.
Rena Sam Deneau.
Anthony Dionisio.
George DiPasquale.
Joseph Di Pilato.
Douglas Frank DiStefano.
Donald Americo Di Tullio.
Ramsey A. Doani.
Johnny Dr. Jr.
John Joseph Doherty.
Melissa Candida Doy.
Brendan Dolan.
Robert E. Dolan Jr.
And my uncle, Robert George McElvin. Uncle Bobby, my whole life my dad has said I reminded him of you. From the stories that I've come to know over the years, I can think of no greater compliment. We all miss you very much and want you to know that we are doing great. Life loves on.
And to my beautiful prima, Janine Nicole Gonzalez, on September 16, 2001, you would have been 26, and on Friday, you would have been 50. We love and we miss you dearly, and we know that we have a guardian angel looking down on all of us.
Neil Matthew Dollard.
James Delmonico.
Benilda Pasqua Domingo.
Alberto Dominguez.
Carlos Dominguez.
Jeremy Mark Patrick Dominguez.
Kevin W. Donnelly.
Jacqueline Donovan.
William H. Donovan.
Stephen Scott Duffy.
Thomas Dowd.
Kevin Christopher Dowen.
Mary Yolanda Dowling.
Raymond Matthew Dowman Sr.
Frank Joseph Doyle.
Joseph Michael Doyle.
Randall L. Drake.
Patrick Joseph Dominguez.
Stephen Patrick Driscoll.
Chris A. Dominguez III.
Myrna A. Duerte.
Luke A. Dominguez. Dudek.
Christopher Michael Duffy.
Gerard J. Duffy.
Michael Joseph Duffy.
Thomas W. Duffy.
Antoinette Duger.
Jacqueline Zayek Dewick.
Sariv Ducat.
Patrick Dunn.
Felicia Gale Dunn Jones.
Christopher Joseph Dunn.
Richard Anthony Dunstan.
Thomas John Patrick Thomas Dowie.
Joseph Anthony Ekobachi.
John Bruce Ingleson.
Edward T. Earhart.
Robert Douglas Edison.
Dean Philip Eberling.
Margaret Reed Eckerman.
And my uncle, Brian Christopher Novotny. We have not forgotten, we will never forget.
And my cousin, John Patrick Burnside. And I will never forget him.
Paul Robert Eckner.
Constantine Economos.
Barbara G. Edwards.
Dennis Michael Edwards.
Michael Hardy Edwards.
Christine Egan.
Lisa Erin Egan.
Martin J. Egan Jr.
Michael Egan.
Samantha Martin Egan.
Carol Eckert.
Lisa Karen Ehrlich.
John Ernest Eckler,
Eric Adam Eisenberg,
Daphne Ferlinda Elder,
Michael J. Alferez,
Mark Joseph Ellis,
Valerie Silver Ellis,
Albert Alfie William Almary,
Robert R. Elseth,
Edgar Hendricks Emery Jr.,
Doric Sukian Eng,
Christopher Epps,
Ulf Ram Erickson,
Aaron L. Ecker,
William John Irwin,
Sarah Ali Escarcega,
Jose Espinal,
Fanny Espinosa,
Billy Scoop Esposito,
Bridget Ann Esposito,
Francis Esposito,
Sadie Ete,
Ruben Esquilin Jr.,
Eric Brian Evans,
Barbara G. Etzel,
Meredith Emily June Ewart,
Robert Edward Evans,
and my cousin, Police Officer Mark Joseph Ellis. You gave your life to save others. You are the true meaning of a hero. You will never be forgotten. God bless everyone in uniform. God bless America.
and my uncle, Cecile Solanke. We carry you with us every day in the memories we have of you and the love you showed us. We miss you and we love you.
Patricia Mary Fagan.
Ivan Kirillos Fairbanks Barbosa.
Keith George Fairbairn.
Sandra Fajardo Smith.
Charles S. Falkenberg.
Dana Falkenberg.
Zoe Falkenberg.
Jamie L. Fallon.
William F. Fallon.
William Lawrence Fallon, Jr.
Anthony J. Filoni, Jr.
Dolores Bridget Finelli.
Robert John Fangman.
John Joseph Fanning.
Kathleen Ann Faringer.
Thomas James Farino.
Nancy C. Doloniski Farley.
Paige Marie Farley Hackle.
Elizabeth Ann Farmer.
Douglas John Farnham.
John Gerard Farrell.
John W. Farrell.
Terrace Patrick Farrell.
Joseph D. Farrelly.
Thomas Patrick Farrelly.
Syed Abdul Fattah.
Christopher Edward Fognan.
Wendy R. Faulkner.
Shannon Marie Fava.
Bernard D. Favuza.
Robert Fazio Jr.
Ronald Call Fazio Sr.
William F. Feehan.
Francis Jude Feely.
Garth Erin Feeney.
Sean Bernard Fagan.
Lee S. Feeling.
Peter Adam Fiedelberg.
Alan D. Feinberg.
Rosa Marie Feliciano.
And my beautiful mother, Barbara P. Walsh. Today, Mr. Bloomberg told the families in the room that half of the world's population was born after 9/11. It's so important to keep their memory alive. Mom, you're missed so much. We're always keeping your memory alive. We love you so much, and please continue to send us your signs.
And my sister, Patricia A. Cody. I'd also like to mention FDNY Lieutenant Philip Petty and my friend Wayne Russo. May they all rest in peace.
Edward P. Felt.
Edward Thomas Fergus Jr.
George J. Ferguson III.
J. Joseph Ferguson.
Henry Fernandez.
Judy Hazel Santillan Fernandez.
Julio Fernandez.
Elisa Giselle Farena.
Anne Marie Solarin Ferreira.
Robert John Ferris.
David Francis Ferrugio.
Louis V. Fersini Jr.
Michael David Ferrugio.
Bradley James Fetchett.
Jennifer Louise Fialco.
Kristen Nicole Fidel.
Amelia V. Fields,
Samuel Fields,
Alexander Milan Filipov,
Michael Bradley Finnegan,
Timothy J. Finity,
Michael C. Fiore,
Stephen J. Fiorelli,
Paul M. Fiore,
John B. Fiorito,
John R. Fisher,
Andrew Fisher,
Bennett Lawson Fisher,
Gerald P. Fisher,
John Roger Fisher,
Thomas J. Fisher,
Lucy A. Fishman,
Ryan D. Fitzgerald,
Thomas James Fitzpatrick,
Richard P. Fitzsimmons,
Salvatore Flume Fredo,
Darlene E. Flagg,
Wilson F. Flagg,
Christina Donovan Flannery,
Eileen Fletcher,
and my cousin Stephen J. Fiorelli. You are in our hearts forever, Steve. We love and miss you.
and my grandmother Louise A. Lynch, which I wish was here, but she may rest in our hearts.
Andre G. Fletcher,
Carl M. Flickinger,
Matthew M. Floco,
John Joseph Florio,
Joseph Walken Flounders,
Carol Ann Flyzik,
David Fodo,
Michael N. Fodor,
Stephen Mark Fogel,
Thomas J. Foley,
Jane C. Folger,
David J. Fontana,
Chi Min Fu,
Delrose E. Forbes Cheatham,
Godwin Ford,
Donald A. Foreman,
Christopher Hugh Forsyth,
Claudia Alicia Foster,
Noel John Foster,
Sandra N. Foster,
Anna Fosterus,
Robert Joseph Foti,
Jeffrey Fox,
Virginia Elizabeth Fox,
Pauline Francis,
Virgin Lucy Francis,
Gary J. Frank,
Morton H. Frank,
Peter Christopher Frank,
Colleen L. Frazier,
Richard K. Frazier,
Kevin J. Frawley,
Clyde Frazier Jr.,
Lillian Inez Frederick,
Andrew Fredericks,
Tamitha Freeman,
Brett Owen Freeman,
Peter L. Freund,
Arlene Ava Fried,
Alan W. Friedlander,
and my cousin Richie Frazier. Your legacy lives on in Aden. I pray that where you are, the beach in Nassau Point is perfect, the volleyball court is ready for a game, the bonfire is lit for everyone to sit around and hear one of your short stories. The Budweiser is always cold, and the Giants win maybe a few more Super Bowls. We love you and miss you terribly.
and to my sister, Corrine Gordon. On behalf of your sons, David and Tony, and the rest of the family, thank you for being our guardian angel. You live on in our hearts forever.
Andrew Keith Friedman,
Paul J. Friedman,
Craig J. Froner,
Lisa Ann Frost,
Peter Christian Fry,
Clement A. Formondo,
Stephen Elliott Furman,
Paul James Formato,
Carlton Douglas B. Fife,
Frederick Neil Gabler,
James Andrew Gadio,
Richard A. Gabrielle,
Irvin Vincent Galliard,
Pamela Lee Gaff,
Grace Catherine Galante,
Deanna Lynn Galante,
Daniel James Gallagher,
Anthony Edward Gallagher,
Lourdes J. Galetti,
John Patrick Gallagher,
Vincent Gallucci,
Kono E. Gallo,
Giovanna Galetta Gambale,
Thomas E. Galvin,
Gian F. Gamboa,
Thomas Gambino Jr.,
Peter James Gansey Jr.,
Ronald L. Gamboa,
Charles William Garbarini,
Michael Gann,
Cesar R. Garcia,
Andrew Sonny Garcia,
Jorge Luis Morron Garcia,
David Garcia,
Marlon del Carmen Garcia,
Juan Garcia,
Douglas Benjamin Gardner,
Christopher Samuel Gardner,
and my father, Manuel Joao de Moda. Though we may have never met, I am honored to carry your name and legacy with me. I thank you for giving me this life and family, your wife Barbara, your sons, your brothers, and the rest of your family, from Portugal to Angola to Paraguay, all the way back to the United States. We love you and miss you every day. Love you, Dad.
Harvey Joseph Gardner III, and my son Paul. 22 years ago, seems like yesterday. There are no words. You are and always will be our tower of strength. We love you, Mom and Dad.
Jeffrey Brian Gardner,
Thomas A. Gardner,
William Arthur Gardner,
Frank Garfey,
Rocco Nino Gargano,
James M. Gartenberg,
Matthew David Garvey,
Bruce Gary,
Boyd Allen Gatton,
Donald Richard Gavigan, Jr.,
Peter Allen Gay,
Terrence D. Gazani,
Gary Paul Geidel,
Paul Hamilton Geyer,
Julie M. Geis,
Peter Gerard Galinas,
Stephen Paul Geller,
Howard G. Gelling, Jr.,
Peter Victor Jenko Jr.,
Stephen Gregory Genovese,
Elaine Gentle,
Linda M. George,
Edward F. Garrity,
Susan Garrity,
Ralph Gerhardt,
Robert Gerlich,
Dennis P. Germain,
Marina Romanovna Gertzberg,
Susan M. Getzendonner,
Lawrence D. Getzfred,
James G. Geyer,
Cortez Gee,
Joseph M. Giacone,
Vincent Francis Giamona,
Deborah Lynn Gibbon,
James Andrew Giberson,
Brenda C. Gibson,
Craig Neil Gibson,
Ronnie E. Gase,
Andrew Clive Gilbert,
and my brother, T.J. Hargrave, who I really, really miss. And to this day, there are times when I'll be at a new restaurant or I'll hear a new band or I'll see something in the news. And it brings me back to that day, this day 22 years ago. And I can't help but wonder what he went through. And we'll never know what he went through. And they say that time heals all wounds. Well, I beg to differ.
and my brother, firefighter and paramedic, James Nicholas Papageorge from Engine Company 23. Firefighters pull them out, paramedics pull them through. My brother did both. Losing my brother is like losing a constant companion in this journey of life. The pain truly never goes away. The memories of you and the love I have for you will always be in my heart. I love you.
Timothy Paul Gilbert, Paul Stewart Gilby, Paul John Gill, Mark Y. Giles, Evan Hunter Gillette,
Ronald Lawrence Gilligan.
Rodney C. Gillis.
Laura Gilly.
Jeffrey John Giordano.
Donna Marie Giordano.
John F. Ginley.
John Giordano.
Stephen A. Giorgetti.
Martin Giovanasso.
Cum Girolamo.
Salvatore Gito.
Cynthia Giugliano.
Mon Jean Balage.
Diane Gladstone.
Keith Alexander Glasgow.
Thomas Irwin Glasser.
Edmund Glazer.
Harry Glenn.
Barry H. Glick.
Jeremy Logan Glick.
Stephen Glick.
John T. Nazzo.
William Robert Gottschalk.
Michael Galliormella.
Brian F. Goldberg.
Jeffrey G. Goldflam.
Michelle Goldstein.
Monica Goldstein.
Stephen Ian Goldstein.
Ronald F. Galinsky.
Andrew H. Golkin.
Dennis James Gomes.
Enrique Antonio Gomez.
Jose Bienvenido Gomez.
Manuel Gomez Jr.
And our aunt, Lucy Ann Fishman, who worked on the 105th floor of the South Tower, second building hit, first to go down. Aunt Lucy, today is the 22nd anniversary of your son's first day of preschool, and Anthony and I just had our first full day of high school. For young people like us who have only learned about this day in books as Patriot Day, a day of remembrance, it is my hope that this will change and that all people will soon be able to celebrate the lives of those who perished on September 11, 2001, as a triumph over evil, and that your life and the lives of thousands of other people lost on that day was not in vain. The terrorists did not get what they were seeking, and they did not take down America the Beautiful. What they did too was take mothers and fathers and grandparents and aunts and uncles and beautiful souls away from their families and change generations forever. Living a comfortable life, my Aunt Lucy was many things: a softball coach, a church choir member, a volunteer, a wife, a homeowner, an American dreamer. She was living the American dream, but in the end, she would simply want to be remembered as Mom, her greatest success. For my family, she is the person that lost the most on that day. She did not get to finish her life, a life that she worked so hard for. She did not get to watch her son become a college graduate, her daughter get married, or enjoy the beautiful baby boy who is now her grandchild. She would have loved to raise her own children into adulthood and definitely enjoyed the short time she had with them to the fullest. Thankfully, she lived her life out loud. And our family will forever cherish her life and all the lives that shaped what this country has become over the last 22 years. On September 11, 2001, while the terrorists aimed to cripple the American economy, show power, and rain terror on a free nation, a nation that has opened its doors and hearts to all hardworking people who seek freedom and the pursuit of a better life, including those of all races, colors, creeds, and ethnicities, America offers the freedom to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. And America has never wavered from that declaration under any circumstance, as we continue to stand one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those 2,996 souls and the more than 3,000 souls who died since then as a result of that day, those who proudly serve our country, especially in Afghanistan, may your families have peace and someday justice, for it is those people who lost the most on that day, the very most. God bless them and their families, and God bless America.
Wilder Alfredo Gomez.
Janine Nicole Gonzalez.
Mauricio Gonzalez.
Rosa J. Gonzalez.
Lynn Catherine Goodchild.
Calvin Joseph Gooding.
Peter Morgan Goodrich.
Harry
Goody. Kiran Kumar Reddy Gopu. Catherine C. Gurayev. Lisa Fen Gordenstein. Corrine Gordon. Sebastian Gorky. Kieran Joseph Gorman. Thomas Edward Gorman. Michael Edward Gould. O. Kristen Osterholm White Gould. Douglas Allen Gowell. Yuji Goya. John Richard Grabowski. Christopher Michael Grady. Edwin J. Graff III. David Martin Grafman. Gilbert Franco Granados. Lauren Catuzzi Grancolas and her unborn child. Elvira Granito. Winston Arthur Grant. Christopher S. Gray. Ian J. Gray. James Michael Gray. Tara McLeod Gray. John M. Grazioso. Timothy George Grazioso. Derek Arthur Green. Wade B. Green. Wanda Anita Green. Elaine Myra Greenberg. Donald Freeman Green. Gail R. Green. James Arthur Greenleaf Jr. And my brother, Kevin James Murphy. Kevin, we love and miss you. Beth, Connor, and Caitlin know that you are with them every day. We have all had the privilege of seeing Beth's strength and the incredible job she has done, and we know how proud you are of your family. We're lucky to cherish the time we have together, and we are grateful to be part of their lives. They are close and loving as a family can be, and your spirit lives on with them. And I would also like to thank everyone who has been part of this memorial service for the past 22 years. You have been here with us to pay tribute to our loved ones and to make sure they are remembered and honored. Over the years, you have treated us with respect and with compassion. Your actions allow us to keep our focus on our family members who are no longer with us. Thank you all for being here with us. May God bless you, and may God bless America. And my grandfather, firefighter Robert James Crawford. Being your granddaughter is something I will always be so grateful for, and a title I am blessed to have. I'm so proud to be part of you and to be able to carry you with me wherever I go. Our hero, we love you to the moon and back. Keep watching over us. We know you're always close.
Eileen Marcia Greenstein.
Elizabeth Martin Gregg.
Denise Marie Gregory.
Donald H. Gregory.
Florence Moran Gregory.
Pedro Graham.
John Michael Griffin.
Tawana Sherry.   Sherry. Griffin.
Joan Donna Griffith,
Warren Grifka,
Ramon B. Grijalvo,
Joseph F. Grillo,
David Joseph Grimner,
Francis Edward Grogan,
Linda Gronland,
Kenneth George Gruzales,
Joseph Grizelak,
Matthew James Grismlatsky,
Robert Joseph Shar,
Lei Ming Gu,
Richard J. Guadagno,
Joseph A. Guadalupe,
Cindy Yan Zhu Guan,
Jeffrey E. Guja,
Joseph P. Gullickson,
Babita Grishmati Guman,
Douglas Brian Gurian,
Janet Ruth Gustafson,
Philip T. Guza,
Barbara Guzardo,
Peter Mark Gulavari,
Gary Robert Hegg,
Andrea Lynn Haberman,
Barbara Mary Habib,
Philip Hensler,
Nizam A. Hafiz,
Karen Elizabeth Haggerty,
Stephen Michael Haggis,
Mary Lou Haig,
David Halderman,
and my father, firefighter Michael Lyons, FDNY. On the birthday that we share, you would have been 55 this year. Your family, friends, and everyone you loved will cherish the memories. We hold you in our hearts every day. We love and we miss you.
and my loving sister, my other half, Chevon Licia Mentis, WTC 1, 93rd floor, Marsh and McLennan. You're sadly missed by your family, friends, colleagues, especially our beloved mom, Bishop Myrtle Bazil. You're forever in our hearts. Continue to be our guardian angel.
Miley Rachel Hale,
Diane Hale McKinsey,
Richard B. Hall,
Stanley R. Hall,
Vaswell George Hall,
Robert J. Halligan,
Vincent Gerard Halloran,
Carolyn B. Hallman,
James Douglas Halvorson,
Mohammed Salman Hamdani,
Felicia Hamilton,
Robert W. Hamilton,
Carl Max Hammond Jr.,
Frederick K. Hahn,
Christopher James Hanley,
Sean S. Hanley,
Valerie Joan Hanna,
Thomas Paul Hannafin,
Kevin James Hannaford Sr.,
Michael Lawrence Hannon,
Dana Ray Hannon,
Christine Lee Hansen,
Peter Burton Hansen,
Sue Kim Hansen,
Vasilos G. Haramis,
James A. Harron,
Gerald Francis Hardacre,
Jeffrey Pike Hardy,
T.J. Hargrave,
Daniel Edward Harlan,
Francis Harrows,
Harvey L. Harrell,
Stephen G. Harrell,
Melissa Harrington Hughes,
Aisha Ann Harris,
Stuart D. Harris,
John Patrick Hart,
Eric Hartono,
John Clinton Hartz,
Emmerich Harvey,
and my brother, Dennis Michael Edwards. A quick song from Marcel Michel. I will remember come September, I will remember the happy days that I spent with you. And as the years go by, I think of you and sigh. It's not goodbye, it's so long.
and my brother-in-law, Daniel Francis McGinley. Danny was a wonderful son to his mom, Connie, and dad, Daniel, a great brother and brother-in-law to Marty and Jen, Tom and Michelle, Mike and Wendy, and Dennis and Lara, and uncle to all of their children. A terrific husband to Peggy, and a wonderful dad to Terrence, Maddie, Peter, Ann, and Pat. And by his example, he showed me how to be a good brother-in-law. Is there any more you can receive from a man?
Peter Paul Hashem.
Thomas Theodore Haskell, Jr.
Timothy Sean Haskell.
Joseph John Hassan III.
Leonard W. Hatton, Jr.
Terrence S. Hatton.
Michael Hamlet Habb.
Timothy Aaron Haviland.
Donald G. Haverlish, Jr.
Anthony Maurice Hawkins.
Nobuhiro Hayamatsu.
James Edward Hayden.
Robert J. Hayes.
Philip T. Hayes.
W. Ward Hines.
Scott Jordan Hazelcorn.
Michael K. Healy.
Roberta B. Heber.
Charles Francis Xavier Huron.
John F. Heffernan.
Michelle M. Heidenberger.
Sheila M. S. Hine.
H. Joseph Heller, Jr.
Joanne L. Heltebrittle.
Ronald John Hemingway.
Mark F. Hemscott.
Ronnie Lee Henderson.
Brian Hennessy.
Edward R. Hennessy, Jr.
Michelle Marie Henrique.
Joseph Patrick Henry.
William L. Henry, Jr.
Katarina Henry Robinson.
John Christopher Henwood.
Robert Allen Hepburn.
Mary Adencia.
Lindsay C. Harkness III.
Harvey Robert Hermer.
Norberto Hernandez.
Raul Hernandez.
And my cousin, Port Authority Police Officer, Christopher Amoroso. Is that a day that goes by that we don't think about you? You're our hero. That day you showed the whole world what the true hero is, and you're now forever our guardian angel.
And my uncle, Colonel Charles Edward Jones, who loved and served this country proudly with the United States Air Force. We miss you, Chuck. Your legacy will always live on.
Gary Harold.
Jeffrey Allen Hirsch.
Thomas J. Hetzel.
Leon Bernard Hayward, MC Sundance.
Brian Christopher Hickey.
Anamencio Dario Hidalgo Cedeno.
Timothy Brian Higgins.
Robert D. W. Higley II.
Todd Russell Hill.
Clara Victorine Hines.
Neil O. Hines.
Mark Hindi.
Katsuyuki Hirai.
Heather Malia Ho.
Tara Yvette Hobbs.
Thomas Anderson Hobbs.
James J. Hoban.
Robert Wayne Hobson III.
Dewan Hodges.
Ronald G. Horner.
Patrick A. Hoey.
John A. Hofer.
Marcia Hoffman.
Stephen Gerard Hoffman.
Frederick Joseph Hoffman.
Michelle L. Hoffman,
Judith Florence Hoffmiller,
Wallace Cole Hogan, Jr.,
Thomas Warren Holweck, Jr.,
Jonathan R. Hawman,
Cora Hidalgo Holland,
John Holland,
Elizabeth Holmes,
Jimmy I. Holland,
Herbert Wilson Homer,
Thomas P. Hollohan,
Bradley V. Horn,
First Officer Leroy W. Homer, Jr., United Airlines Flight 93, James P. Hopper,
and my father, Mike Asher. In some ways, it still feels like 22 years ago, my second week of college, standing in my dorm room and knowing you were gone. But I know it's been 22 years because I'm able to stand here today. Dad, I miss you. I think of you all the time. I wish you were here to meet my wife and your beautiful granddaughter who's named after you. I know you'd be making her laugh. We love you and we remember you always.
and my aunt, Kathleen Moran. The aftershocks of your death affected all facets of my life, even though I was not yet born when you died. I never met you, but you live on in my name, my soul, and my body and my blood. Now, to quote Martin Luther King Jr., true peace is not merely the absence of tension, but the presence of justice, which is why I will now acknowledge the 4.5 million dead and disappeared as a result of the war on terror waged after 9/11.
Montgomery McCullough Horde.
Michael Joseph Horn.
Matthew Douglas Horning.
Robert L. Horaho, Jr.
Michael Robert Horrocks.
Aaron Horwitz.
Charles J. Houston.
Uhuru G. Houston.
Angela M. Houts.
George Gerard Howard.
Brady K. Howell.
Michael C. Howell.
Stephen Leon Howell.
Jennifer L. Howley.
Milagros Ramada.
Marion R. Recheck.
Stephen Hutchko Jr.
Chris Robert Hughes.
Paul Rexford Hughes.
Robert T. Hughes, Jr.
Thomas F. Hughes Jr.
Timothy Robert Hughes.
Susan Huey.
Lamar Demetrius Hulse.
John Nicholas Humper Jr.
William Christopher Hunt.
Kathleen Ann Hunt Casey.
Joseph Gerard Hunter.
Peggy M. Hurt.
Robert R. Husa.
Stephen N. Highland Jr.
Robert J. Himmel.
Thomas Edward Hines.
Walter G. Hines.
Joseph Anthony Iannelli.
Zutu Ibis.
Jonathan Lee Ayalepe.
Michael Patrick Eichen.
Daniel Ekanayev.
Frederick J. Ill, Jr.
And my husband, Thomas J. Fisher, we will never forget.
And my sister, Maureen Lyons Olson. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. Until we meet again, Rini, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Abraham Nathaniel Ilowitz.
Anthony P. Infante, Jr.
Louis S. Inglaterra.
Christopher Noble Ingrazia.
Paul Inella.
Stephanie Veronica Irby.
Douglas Jason Ergang.
Kristen Irvine Ryan.
Todd Antione Isaac.
Eric Hans Branson.
Taizo Ishikawa.
Walid Joseph Iskandar.
Adam Iskandarian Jr.
John F. Iskian.
Kazushiki Ito.
Alexander Valerievich Ivansov.
Lacey Bernard Ivory.
Virginia May Yablonsky.
Brian C. Jack.
Brooke Alexandra Jackman.
Aaron Jeremy Jacobs.
Ariel Lewis Jacobs.
Jason Kyle Jacobs.
Michael G. Jacobs.
Stephen A. Jacobson.
Stephen D. Jacoby.
Ricknoth Jaggernoth.
Jake Dennis Yagoda.
Yudvir S. Jane.
Maria Jacobiak.
Robert Adrian Jalbert.
Ernest James.
Griselda E. James.
Mark Stephen Jardine.
Francois John Pierre.
Mohamedou Jawara.
Amy Nicole Jarrett.
Maxima Jean Pierre.
Paul Edward Jeffers.
John Charles Jenkins.
And my father, Titus Davidson, my hero, my cheerleader. Your memory lives on in your grandson, Pedro, that you never got to meet. We love you always. You're missed in Jamaica, Canada, and the United States. You'll never be forgotten.
And my aunt, Joanne Smith Tabeek. Anybody that knew us know that she was more like my second mom, as well as my sister. We're always brother and sister. We tried that day. All the first responders, we tried. Just want to let you know that I love you. Thank you for bringing me to the towers since I was 5 years old. And I want to say a special thank you to our military, as well as SEAL Team 6, who on May 5th, 2011, completed a successful operation that helps ease some of our pain. Geronimo.
Joseph Jenkins Jr.
Alan Keith Jensen.
Prem Nath Giraffe.
Farah Judy.
Wader GM.
Eliza Jimenez Jr.
Luis Jimenez Jr.
Charles Gregory John.
Nicholas John.
Dennis M. Johnson.
LaShawnwa Johnson.
Scott Michael Johnson.
William R. Johnston.
Ellison Hortzman Jones.
Arthur Joseph Jones III.
Brian Leander Jones.
Charles Edward Jones.
Christopher D. Jones.
Donald T. Jones II.
Donald W. Jones.
Judith Lauter Jones.
Linda Jones.
Mary S. Jones.
Andrew Brian Jordan Sr.
Robert Thomas Jordan.
Albert Gunnis Joseph.
Ingeborg Joseph.
Carl Henry Joseph.
Stephen Joseph.
Jane Eileen Josiah.
Anthony Jovic.
Angel L. Huarbe Jr.
Karen Sue Jude.
Ann C. Judge.
Michael F. Judge.
Paul William Jurgens.
Thomas Edward Jurgens.
Shashikiran Lakshmikanta Kavaraba.
Gavaroy Karma Denova.
Sherry Candell.
And my cousin, Matthew Carmen Salido. You are loved, you are missed.
And my uncle, Łukasz Tomasz Milewski. I was never given the privilege to be around the amazing person he was, but through my mom's and grandparents' stories, I'm told he's seen a lot in me, and that's something I carry proudly. We love and miss you more every day.
Howard Lee Kane, Jennifer Lynn Kane, Vincent D. Kane, June Koo Kang, Sheldon Robert Cantor, Deborah H. Kaplan, Robin Lynn Kaplan, Alvin Peter Kappelman Jr., Charles H. Karcheski, William A. Carnes, Andrew K. Cates, Charles L. Casper, Dennis Jean Karpilov, John A. Katamatides, Robert Michael Colfers, Don Jerome Kauth Jr., Hideo Kawauchi, Edward T. Keene, Richard M. Keene, Lisa Yvonne Carney Griffin, Carol Ann Kiesler, Barbara A. Keating, Paul Hanlon Keating, Leo Russell Keene III, Brenda Kegler, Chandler Raymond Keller, Joseph John Keller, Peter R. Kellerman, Joseph P. Kelly, Frederick H. Kelly III, James Joseph Kelly, Joseph A. Kelly, Maurice P. Kelly, Richard John Kelly Jr., Thomas Michael Kelly, Thomas Richard Kelly, Thomas W. Kelly, Timothy Colin Kelly, William Hill Kelly Jr., Robert Clinton Kennedy, and my Uncle Noel Mayers. Uncle Noel, I'm so proud to be named after you. I love hearing stories about you, and I try to follow your example of showing kindness to everyone I meet and living life to the fullest. Our family misses you, and we ask you to please continue watching over us. You'll never be forgotten, Uncle Noel.
And my uncle, Richard Michael Caggiano. Even though we never met, I always wonder how good of an uncle you would have been. I will always love you, and you will always hold a special place in my heart.
Thomas J. Kennedy,
Yvonne E. Kennedy,
John Richard Keohane,
Ralph Francis Kershaw,
Ronald T. Kerwin,
Howard L. Kestenbaum,
Douglas D. Ketchum,
Ruth Ellen Kettler,
Boris Caliph,
Norma Cruz Khan,
Sarah Khan,
Taimur Faraz Khan,
Rajesh Handelwal,
Seilei Ku,
Michael Vernon Kiefer,
Satoshi Kikuchi Hara,
Andrew Jehun Kim,
Lawrence Don Kim,
Mary Jo Kimmelman,
Heinrich Kemming,
Karen Ann Kincaid,
Amy R. King,
Andrew M. King,
Lucille Teresa King,
Robert King Jr.,
Lisa King Johnson,
Brian K. Kinney,
Takashi Kino Shita,
Chris Michael Kirby,
Robert Kirkpatrick,
Howard Barry Kirschbaum,
Glenn Davis Kerwin,
Helen Crossan Kittle,
Richard Joseph Clarice,
Peter Anton Klein,
Alan David Kleinberg,
Karen Joyce Klitzman,
Ronald Philip Klepfer,
Stephen A. Knapp,
Eugenie Niezev,
and my grandfather, George Velasquez. He was a security guard for Morgan Stanley. He means so much to my mom, so much to my uncles, so much to his wife, my grandmother, who despite having Alzheimer's still remembers him. And he means so much to those he evacuated. And because of that, he means so much to me.
and my titi, Giovanna Porres. Titi, we miss you every single day. We know you're with us every single day. I wish you got a chance to meet your niece, Ava, who has your name as her middle name. I know you're watching over her every day, and I know you're watching over us every day.
Andrew James Knox.
Thomas Patrick Knox.
Rebecca Lee Kabori.
Deborah A. Kobus.
Gary Edward Keckler.
Frank J. Kostner.
Ryan Cohart.
Vanessa Lynn Shibalo Kolpak.
Irina Kolpakova.
Suzanne Rose Kondratenko.
Abdullah Kone.
Bon Siok Ku.
Dorata Kopikitsu.
Scott Michael Kopitko.
Bohan George Kostich.
Danielle Kusulis.
David P. Kolvechin.
John J. Kren.
William Edward Krakowski.
Ludmila Kusido.
Toshia Kuge.
Shekhar Kumar.
Kenneth Bruce Kumpel.
Frederick Ku Jr.
Patricia A. Koras.
Noka Kushitani.
Thomas Joseph Kuvakis.
Victor Kwarkai.
Raymond Kui Fei Kwok.
Angela Reed Kite.
Andrew Lacorte.
Carol Ann LaPlante.
Jeffrey G. Latouche.
Catherine L. Labori.
Amarnath Lachman.
Ganesh K. Ladkot.
James Patrick Ladley.
Joseph A. LaFause.
Jeanette Louise Lafon Menachino.
David James LaForge.
And my cousin, Noel Mayers. Noel, we love you, we miss you, you'll never be forgotten. Your legacy lives on, and we're grateful to have you as a guardian angel. Until we meet again, cousin.
And my Ridger friends, Brian Bennett, John Candela, Mike LaForte, Sean Lynch from Cantor, and my brother, Thomas Harold Bowden Jr. Tommy, it's been 22 years, and I miss your crooked smile.
Michael Patrick Laforte.
Alan Charles LaFrance.
Juan Méndez Lafuente.
Neil Kwang Wei Lei.
Vincent Anthony Layeta.
William David Lake.
Franco Lalama.
Chow Quam Lam.
Michael S. Lamana.
Stephen Lamontia.
Amy Hope Lamonsoff.
Robert T. Lane.
Brandon Mark Lang.
Roseanne P. Lang.
Vanessa Lang Langer.
Mary Lou Langley.
Peter J. Langon.
Thomas Michael Langone.
Michelle Bernadette Lanza.
Ruth Sheila Lappin.
Ingeborg A.D. Larrabee.
Robin Blair Larkey.
Judith Camila Larocque.
Christopher Randall Larrabee.
Hamidou S. Larry.
Scott Larson.
John Adam Larson.
Natalie Janice Lasden.
Gary Edward Lasco.
Nicholas Craig Lassman.
Paul Lasinski.
Charles A. Sorensen.
Stephen James Lauria.
Maria Lavache.
Dennis Francis Lavelle.
Janine Mary Laverde.
Anna A. Laverty.
Stephen Lawn.
Robert A. Lawrence Jr. And
I have one more. Nathaniel Lawson.
and my cousin Lucia Crifasi. My dear angel Lucy, you got child Gio and I love you every day of our life. Maria and Frank miss you and miss you. Now you are together with my husband, Rosario Floro. Vi voglio bene, miei due grandi amori. May God bless this country.
And my brother, Harvey Joseph Gardner III. Harvey, you're in our prayers and our hearts every day. The courage and compassion, the kindness that you showed on 9/11 and throughout your short life will always inspire us to live better lives. May our loved ones all be at peace. May they feel our love. May they be honored always. And may there be justice and accountability for them and ongoing care and support for those still suffering from 9/11's ongoing impacts.
David W. Lachek.
Eugene Gabriel Lazar.
James Patrick Leahy.
Joseph Gerard Levy.
Neil J. Levy.
Robert G. LeBlanc.
Leon Labor.
Kenneth Charles Leday.
Alan J. Letterman.
Alina F. Ledesma.
Alexis Leduc.
Daniel John Lee.
David S. Lee.
Yang Chu Lee.
Gary H. Lee.
Yoon Jun Lee.
Juanita Lee.
Catherine Blair Lee.
Linda C. Lee.
Lorraine Mary Green Lee.
Mi Young Woo Lee.
Richard Y. C. Lee.
Stuart Soo Jin Lee.
Yang Der Lee.
Stephen Paul Lefkowitz.
Adriana Legros.
Edward Joseph Lehman.
Eric Herdfield.
David R. Leastman.
David Prudencio Lamange. Joseph
Anthony Lenahan.
John Joseph Lennon Jr.
John Robertson Lenoir.
Jorge Luis Leon Sr.
Matthew G. Leonard.
Michael Laporte.
Charles A. L'Esperance,
Jeff Levine,
John Dennis Levi,
Alicia Karen Levin,
and my uncle, John M. Pocher, a bond broker at Cantor Fitzgerald. We all miss you so incredibly much and will always carry on your memory with us. Love you forever and always.
and my son, Darrell LaRon McKinney, Tower 1, Cantor Fitzgerald, and his beautiful fiancee, Angela Rosario, which worked for Cantor also. We lost both of them. We, the two families, continue to stay united for 22 years. They say, never forget. We can't forget. We are living their legacy as if they were still here together.
Neil David Levin.
Robert Levine.
Robert Michael Levine.
Shai Levenhar.
Daniel M. Lewin.
Adam J. Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis.
Kenneth E. Lewis.
Margaret Susan Lewis.
Yi Wei Liang.
Orasfri Liang Thanasarn.
Daniel F. Libretti.
Ralph Michael Lichardi.
Edward Lichtshine.
Samantha L. Lightborn Allen.
Stephen Barry Lilienthal.
Carlos R. Lilo.
Craig Damian Lalore.
Arnold Arboleda Lim.
Daria Lin.
Wei Rong Lin.
Nikki L. Lindo.
Thomas V. Linehan Jr.
Robert Thomas Linane.
Alan Patrick Linton Jr.
Diane Teresa Lapari.
Kenneth P. Lira Arevalo.
Francisco Alberto Liriano.
Lorraine Lisi.
Paul Listen.
Vincent M. Lito.
Ming Hao Lu.
Nancy Liz.
Harold Liscano.
Martin Lazul.
George Andrew Janis.
Elizabeth C. Logler.
Catherine Lisa Laguidice.
Jerome Robert Lohez.
Michael William Lomax.
And my father, Police Officer Paul Talty, we love and miss you always.
And my brother-in-law, hero firefighter, Rescue 1, Kenneth Joseph Marino. I only wish you got to play baseball and softball with Sophia and Zachary.
Stephen V. Long.
Laura Maria Longing.
Salvatore P. Lopes.
Daniel Lopez.
George Lopez.
Luis Manuel Lopez.
Maclovio Lopez Jr.
Manuel L. Lopez.
Joseph Lostrangio.
Chet Deck Louis.
Stuart Side Lewis.
Joseph Lovero.
Sarah Elizabeth Lowe.
Jenny Sue Quang Lo Wong.
Michael W. Lowe.
Gary W. Lozier.
John P. Lozowski.
Charles Peter Lucania.
Edward Hobbs Luckett II.
Mark Gavin Ludvigsen.
Lee Charles Ludwig.
Sean Thomas Lungano.
Daniel Lugo.
Marie Lucas.
William Lum Jr.
Michael P. London.
Christopher E. Lunder.
Anthony Luparello.
Gary Frederick Lutnick.
Linda Ann Musicone.
Alexander Ligon.
C.C. Lyles, Farrell Peter Lynch,
James Francis Lynch,
James T. Lynch Jr.,
Louise A. Lynch,
Michael Cameron Lynch,
Michael Francis Lynch,
Michael Francis Lynch,
Richard D. Lynch Jr.,
and my brother, Francis Jude Feely. I had a nice short speech about what I've missed about my brother Fran these years and what he has missed, like the birth of his two grandsons, Justin and Lucas, his daughter's weddings, how I missed the unity that the country had on September 12th, and I would like to get that back. But I lost a dear friend to suicide this past week, and I cannot let that go without saying something about that tragic loss and all of the tragic losses so many people have suffered. So those of you who are suffering, please reach out, say something. It's okay to say you're not okay. Most people experience periods of not being okay. We can't help you if we don't know. Reach out to somebody, or if you prefer to talk to a stranger, pick up the phone, call or text 988, the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Please, and I thank you.
and my nephew, Gregory Milanowitz. Greg is up in heaven now with his father, Joseph, who we just lost 2 weeks ago. Our family prayers go out to everyone who lost someone 22 years ago. We continue to pray for all of us and for the people that we continue to lose. We will continue as a family to pray, and we are hoping for blessings from above, and we could only say we will never forget. Thank you.
Robert Henry Lynch, Jr.
Sean P. Lynch.
Ik spüre den Namen in mir, du hast mein Herz in deiner Hand. Ein ganzer Sommer lang haben wir zusammen jede Nacht gelacht und tanzt, alles zusammen gemacht. Hab mit mir eine ewige Zeit. Der Sommer ging nie vorbei, es hat einfach alles passt mit dir. Doch erstens kommt's halt anders und zweitens, als man denkt, das Schicksal hat's nicht gut gemeint mit dir und mir. Du bist auf und davon an dem Morgen früh, bist einfach nicht mehr da. Seitdem ist mein Leben nicht mehr und ich weiss noch nicht wieso. Ein ganzer Sommer lang haben wir zusammen jede Nacht gelacht und tanzt, alles zusammen gemacht. All nach Jahren sehe ich dich noch von mir. Ich glaube, ich hab noch jetzt nicht genug von dir. Ein ganzer Sommer lang haben wir zusammen jede Nacht gelacht und tanzt, alles zusammen gemacht. Hab mit mir eine ewige Zeit. Der Sommer ging nie vorbei, es hat einfach alles passt mit dir.